Okay, so welcome back to RPMbassy. We're now at number 5. The Dizzy Heights number 5. I'm going to start this one off. So for my number 5, it's by a band who I think you probably know I love. I've done a few of their records in my top 10 and top 20s so far. But the reason why I chose this was not for the A side, it was for the B side. So when we were talking about B sides before, and for me this is definitely one of the best songs ever done. So the band is Depeche Mode. The single was Dreaming of Me, which was recorded about the same time in 1981 when they were doing their first album, Speak and Spell. And the B side was a track called Ice Machine, okay? But it never appeared on the album. And it was released in 20 February 1981. As soon as I heard this beat, I always went for the B-sides. Like, there's a lot of the B-sides, especially the 80 singles, that I preferred over the A-sides. Like Adam and the Ants B-sides were like incredible. Depeche Mode's B-sides were incredible. This is still one of my favourites when it comes to Depeche Mode. Lyrically, I mean, considering like they were like 18, I thought lyrically it was brilliant. Like the melodies, it was just incredible. And the lines that I love in here, it goes, running through my head secretly, the shouts of the boys in the factory are ringing you on the telephone silently, like blood, like wine in the darkroom scene. I love that. Brilliant. But the rest of the lyrics are like that as well. And it's a track called Ice Machine. If you've not heard that track, look it out. It's on the B-side of Dreaming of Me, which is still a great song. But it's the B-side, Ice Machine, to have a look out for. And you probably see more Depeche Mode in my top whatever it is we're going to be doing. But that is my number 5, Depeche Mode, but the B-side, Ice Machine. Over to Mark.
Nice. So I've kind of had a lot of older 80s oriented stuff up until now. This one's a lot more modern. So this is Deftones' Hexagram. I would say Deftones as a band, for the longest time, they've probably been the band where I default to saying they're my favourite band of all time. So Hexagram, this was off of their 2003 self-titled album. Kind of a black sheep of the family for as far as their albums go. A lot of people didn't kind of vibe with it as much as, certainly White Pony, the album that came beforehand. That was sort of, for most people, the album that not only pushed them into the stratosphere as far as like a metal band, but also was critically looked at as like this artistic masterpiece. And from an artistic perspective, I can see why a lot of people didn't like the self-titled album and the songs like Hexagram. It's a lot heavier and it's a lot more straightforward and almost a bit sludgy in terms of how the songs put together. It's super simple. This is kind of a good snapshot of the band to take a look at how they were musically at the time and what that would then lead them on to, like the kind of strife within the band, the drama that went on. It's never really been any secret that Chino, the vocalist, and Steph, the guitarist, kind of were always butting heads to try and make music. One of the, Chino wants to make, stuff like Japan and Duran Duran and things like that. Lots of kind of romantic lyric kind of stuff with synthesizers and things. And then Steph Carpenter, the guitarist, just wants to write heavy riffs and just straightforward pure metal. And on this album and these singles, Steph won out, and these are just like, it's like a straight metal album most of the way through. But Hexagram, it's the opening track to the album, and it's a really, really good opener. It's such a simple song. It's basically 2 riffs, but they hit fucking hard. And it's probably the most raw vocal performance from Chino as well. There's a couple of bits about sort of 2/3 of the way through and right towards the end. There's a lot of people don't like screaming in vocals anyway, but there's technique behind it. The screams that he does on this, there's no technique at all. It's just him like absolutely belting, and you can hear like the crack, like his chords like just like kind of fraying as he's doing it. But it's really, really raw, and it makes the song so much more impactful. Lyrically, it's from what I can gather, it's about sort of terrorism and kind of the US's response in the first half of the noughties. The verse essentially is just the words worship, play, worship, play, worship, play, which again, like with the rest of the song, it's really simple, but actually it's quite a big message just in those
Yeah.
two words, like the counterplay of those two words. Yeah, two riffs, two words basically, and that's the song, but it hits so hard. The B-side is Bloody Cape, that's also from the album, and that would actually end up getting a video of its own as well. That could possibly be the heaviest song they've ever done in total. A lot of people think that it's about Christopher Columbus sailing across the world. Like the first line is the ships have all sailed. Like there's a line about going off of the edge of the earth and things like that. Realistically, I think that's probably again like a veiled attempt at getting at some deeper message.
Yeah.
And knowing Chino and how he writes and what his lyric content tends to wind up being about, I would suspect it's about relationships.
Right.
And the ships have all sailed is probably about the end of a relationship, not literally ships sailing. But anyone's interpretation could be correct. Interestingly, the CD version of this single had an actual B-side, a track that's nowhere else in their discography, called Lovers, and that was originally going to be the title of the album, and it was going to feature that track. It's kind of a shame that the vinyl release didn't have Lovers on it, because it's probably one of their best tracks, and certainly as far as B-sides go, it's top notch. It's not quite as well produced as the album because it's almost just a demo, but it's got some of the best drum work that has ever been on any Deftones song in my opinion. And again, it's got such a hard hitting kind of feel behind it, and I think lyrically it's a bit closer to probably what Chino would have wanted the album to sound like. So it's a shame that it isn't on this, but Hexagram, Bloody Cape, they're still two very, very good songs, and again, it's a nice one to pick up if you can.
I think another, going through these top 5 here, I think we should definitely do another show on the best B-sides.
Yeah.
That would be another show you can do. But anyway, join us for the next video. That will be a future video, the best B-sides. Join us on number...
Four.
Join
Join us on number 4.
See you then. Thank you.